Hi, I'm Colin Steven and I'm publisher at Velocity Press. We've just brought out our latest book. It's called Long Relationships, My Incredible Journey from Unknown DJ to Small-Time DJ by Harold Heath. I'm delighted to be joined by Harold here. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself and about the book. So how are you, Harold?
Hi, Colin. Hi. Yeah, I'm very well, thanks very much. How's you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. I'm great. I mean, the book came out last week. It's your first book. I mean, how did it feel when you'd seen the first book and actually being a published author? Because it's a big thing for a writer, isn't it?
It is. It's my first book. It took a long time to write it because I was doing it while working. So to actually see it in the print, in its real printed form, was quite amazing. But then to see it appearing in my newsfeed as people posted pictures of it was quite the most. It was quite a joyous thing, really, quite amazing. And then people started saying they liked it. And it's odd, I never considered that people would actually read it. I was always focused on the writing of it and the getting it out. But it turns out people buy it and they read it and they tell you what they think of it.
Yeah.
It's been quite, it's been nice. It's been quite exciting.
So you're a former DJ. Well, you're not a former DJ, you still are a DJ, but it was your career at one point and as a producer as well. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you come to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I was a DJ for years, but as the book details, not a particularly successful one. And I tended to hold down a variety of part-time temporary jobs in all sorts of terrible industries to kind of support myself through the many years of not particularly successful DJing. I was just one of those kids who's really into music as a kid, really obsessed by music, always loved reading books about music, started collecting records when I was very young. So DJing was just a natural step from making mixtapes at home, really. I was lucky in that I was born just in time for me to be becoming a teenager when hip hop happened and breakdancing first came to the UK. So I kind of embraced that whole dance music culture, really. So it was, for me, it was always trainers, not shoes, hoodies, not shirts, black music, not white music. I never really, there's huge chunks of classic white music like the Beatles and stuff I don't really know about because I kind of align myself with that other, black American culture, really. So yeah, I got into that, and then from then on, it was just a natural progression through electro and through soul music to eventually house music when it arrived. Got very much into house music, going to clubs, and I was kind of DJing all that time, although again, not particularly successfully. And yeah, that was kind of, I never really planned for it to be my entire life, but here I am in mid-age, looking back on my entire life in dance music.
Yeah. I mean, have you always written? How did you get into writing, and when did you realise that actually this is another career?
When my music career in around 2015, I could see that I was in trouble in terms of ever making a living out of music. There was artist royalties, because I was a producer, had fallen substantially in the streaming era. Wasn't really getting much DJing work. My health wasn't in great shape. So I was looking around for something else to do. So I retrained as a teacher to teach music technology. And I really, I did quite well at it. I did a 2-year part-time course. But when I kind of qualified, I realised I didn't really like teaching. It's a very stressful, unpleasant job, really, very difficult to do well. But during the training of teaching, they make you write loads of essays. And I'd written all these fantastic pieces of work and I just rediscovered a love of writing, really. And I used to write essays that were like 3 or 4 times too long just because I enjoyed it so much. And my teachers would be like, oh, brilliant, here's another fantastic treatise to read, kind of thing. And that just completely rekindled my love for writing. Because I think I liked it when I was a kid. I think I was quite good at English as a kid. And yeah, from then on, I just started writing as much as I could, writing all the time. I started writing a blog. IDJ magazine gave me a column. And then I started to get bigger commissions. I started submitting work for places like DJ Mag and Mix Mag. And yeah, I just really love it. It kind of replaced making music as a creative outlet for me.
Yeah.
So writing the book was kind of a natural thing, really. It's just, I had lots of stuff to say and it just came out quite easily. It's just a very fun thing to do. Really.
So in a nutshell, tell us about the book.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
It is a biographical account of my career as a DJ. It's 30 years long, and although that's a long time, not a great deal happens. I kind of potter around the edges of the industry, having a very bit of low-level success. And the book's just about what it's like to devote your life to dance music and DJing, to really love it, and just to kind of live that life without ever reaching the kind of, you know, top level of success, really. It's about living a life, doing something you love.
Yeah. I mean, for me, what I enjoyed about it, it actually is a very funny book. I actually think it's our funniest book that we've put out. There was, when I was proofreading it, there was moments that was like laugh out loud. I mean, how do you come about that? I mean, is that quite a natural thing for you, do you think? You kind of got a natural kind of...
Writers that I admire who are funny, and I kind of like to have a certain amount of funny lines in my work. Do you know what I mean? I like I don't have to go too many paragraphs without making some kind of smart ass comment. And yeah, it's just something that comes naturally when I'm writing. I'm not sure that I'm as funny in real life. People might be disappointed when they meet me in real life, but yeah, when I'm writing, that stuff just happens.
Just natural. It's great. No, I mean, you mentioned the DJ pyramid in the book. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is exactly?
The pyramid is my concept of the DJing world. I always figured that there were, you know, millions of DJs across the world, but you can imagine us all fitting into a pyramid, right? And right at the top, there's the most successful, most famous DJs. There's only a little bit of top-level work for them. And then right at the bottom, there's a huge swathe of DJs who never even leave their bedrooms, who just DJ at home in their bedrooms, never get any gigs. And then as you go up the tiers, there are kind of different levels of success kind of thing. And that was my concept. And for me, I always wavered around somewhere in the kind of lower mid-levels. So it's not a static thing. You can move around the DJ pyramid depending on your success. It's just a way of thinking about where all the DJs sit in this kind of hierarchy of success. And in thinking about that, writing the book, it made me completely reappraise what I meant by success anyway. I think even the people right down at the bottom of the pyramid who are just DJing in their room with their mates, they're still successful in a way. They're still having lots of fun. They're still getting a lot out of it. I think that's what the book is about, really. It's about getting a lot out of DJ and dance music culture. That culture meaning a lot and it being special, regardless of whether you make millions of pounds from it.
Yeah. So what level, I think you do mention this in the book, but what level what was the highest level you reached? Obviously you go up and down.
No, it's hard to say, man. I had a brief moment in the 90s where I was doing okay. But then I would say in the mid 2000s, I could get an okay fee. I don't know, maybe tier 4, tier 5. Hard to say. Depends where you put your tiers. It's all very arbitrary, Colin. See?
Indeed. So what's the best thing about being a DJ?
The best thing is, I think it might even just be that anticipation, that feeling you get when you've got loads of brilliant new music and you're walking into the room and it's already going really well. And you just have this sense of, if it's going this well now, it's just going, you know it's going to be brilliant. You know you've got the goods. You know you can do it. I think that emotion, that kind of excited anticipation you get as you're going on, and you know it's going to be brilliant.
The adrenaline rush must be great.
Unbeatable, man. It's just nothing like it. I think that's why so many DJs carried on DJing when they weren't really, well, they clearly weren't going to become ultra successful. It's because that feeling is just unbeatable. You never really get it anywhere else. It's nothing like it.
Yeah.
You know, you get to take over. Everyone likes going to a party. It's like being at a party, but you also get an extra level of enjoyment because you're kind of, you know, you're somehow driving it, somehow facilitating this thing happening. You're taking a role in it, which is just terribly good fun.
Yeah. And what's the worst thing about being a DJ?
You know, I guess most DJs would say it's the travel. The travel's really boring. If you travel around a lot, it's quite lonely. You eat loads of bad food on the road. So I guess the dull answer would be the travel's the worst thing. You could also say that 1 in 100 punter who's a nightmare and just keeps, you know, shoving their phone in your face or trying to recharge their phone in the decks or having a go on the mic. But then again,
want to be MC out there, isn't there?
There's always an MC. Sometimes they just come up and chat in your ear just to demonstrate, and you're like, okay, you know, read the room. It's not the time. I think actually they're not the worst thing about DJing because they make it fun too. If nothing else, people like that.
You can laugh about that later, can't you?
So good.
You can laugh about that later, can't you?
You can laugh about it later. They provide anecdotes. They provide after dinner stories. So, you know, you can't complain about them really. So yeah, the worst things are travel, I guess.
Yeah. So hopefully we're coming out of lockdown soon. You're on the decks. What's going to be your first tunes, do you reckon?
It's a tough choice, but I kind of feel that because we've all been locked down for this year and it's been so lonely, I think that it is definitely a time for DJs to dig in their bags and just take out the biggest records that they own. No messing around with building like atmosphere and taking people on a journey. We just want to smash them with massive tunes that everyone knows from the get-go. No warm-ups, nothing like that. Peak time all night. So I think I would probably start off with some kind of really well-known rare groove track, something like Maceo and the Max, Cross the Tracks. It's like a clarion call to the dance floor. Do you know what I mean?
I remember it well.
And it just drops, something like that, something massive. And then from then on, just other really big tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, I could chat to you for hours. We are actually going to be doing a lot longer talks. We're going to, when we actually do the book launch, dates are going to still being finalised at the moment. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I mean, for now, here is the book. Like I was saying, I'm trying to place on your shelf as well.
There it is.
So yeah, thank you for joining us, Harold. Best of luck with the book, and I'll see you soon.
Nice one, Colin. Cheers.